How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about this lady by the name of Pam Keith, who was running for a House seat out there in Florida. She lost, thank goodness, because she is a ridiculous, crazy, far leftist liberal Democrat. So I'm glad she lost. But she raised a very interesting and quite insulting point on Twitter. And I'll place her tweet on the screen before you. Basically, what she's saying is since 80% of black men voted for Biden and therefore maybe 20% voted for Trump, that 20% must hate black women. That's the reason why they voted for Trump, is because they hate black women. All right. Now, this is really ridiculous for a few reasons. The most obvious reason is that 91% of black women voted for Biden. So according to her math, that means the remaining 9% voted for Trump. So does that mean that they hate black men? I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Why are you picking on the black men specifically? What's going on here? Okay, we've seen this happen a lot before. I've spoken about how they attack black men specifically, not black women, because the black woman is a queen. She can't do no wrong, all this, that, and the third. And if you are a transgender, LGBTQ, ABCDFG male, then it's fine, right? If you want to dress as a woman, as a black male, then you're accepted into not being attacked. And I think white men also get attacked. I think the two biggest groups that get attacked in America for being conservative are number one, white men, and then number two, black men. It might be 1A and 1AB or 1AA. It's pretty much neck and neck, but for different reasons. Now, before I go any further into my particular opinion about the situation, let's look at the exit poll data. Now, this data, it could change. It may not be 100% accurate. I just got to say that, obviously. But this is what we have right now. And shout out to Tone Talks, Antonio Moore, for this particular graphic. I'll link to it in the box if you want to see it for yourself and, find the source. But what you're seeing on the left-hand side of the graphic is from the New York Times this year, 2020. And you see the labels where you put on it T and B. The T, that's Trump, and the B is for Biden. Now, you could look at some of this data and you see, well, I'm going to compare it, kind of go back and forth. The first thing that kind of jumps out at me is how the demographics changed a little bit as far as the makeup of the election from what we have so far from exit polls. And like I said, this could change. The white male vote is 32% of the vote in 2020, but it was 34% in 2016. And for white women, it's 33%, but last time it was 36%. Okay, so that's interesting. The black male vote stayed the same at 5%. Black female, the same at 7%. Now, some are going to ask, hey, why didn't that change? Because for Latino men, I'm going to put my camera off right quick. For Latino men and Latino women, it changed. Okay, Latino men went up from 5% to 6%. And then the women went from 6% to 8%, Latino women. So why is that the case? Why did that happen? I think you have in disproportionate birth rates among Hispanics, very high. You're talking about maybe as high as 3 or 4 as far as the birth rate. And in the Western world, you need about 2.1 or so to have replacement, to not lose population, to not go into a negative state or stay stagnant. But the black replacement rate is less than replacement. You're talking about, or the black birth rate is less than replacement. You're talking about like 1.8, 1.9. And it's even less for white Americans, even less for white Europeans. And I think Japanese is the lowest, but way different story. I digress. The whole point is that could explain the reason why you have lesser percentage and or stagnant percentage for white and black, but I'll move on. Anyway, you see that the black male percentage of the vote is the same at 80% for the Democrats. It was 80% for Hillary Clinton, 80% for Joe Biden. But here's the interesting part. We have 18% from the recent exit poll data of black men that voted for Trump versus 13% from last time in 2016 when Trump first ran. So that's about a 35% increase. That's a pretty big increase right there. Yes, it's a small number as far as, 13%, 18%. You want to get closer to like 50%, maybe 35%, but it's an improvement. And all we can do is improve. But black women have an even greater percentage increase. They went from 4 points to 8 points. Now, again, that's low, 4 percentage points. voting for Donald Trump in 2016 pretty low, but to go from 4% to 8% is 100% of an increase. So that's big. Yes, small numbers, but big increases. And I think you're going to see that number continue to increase. So when Pam Keith says, oh, you must hate black women, well, how about the black women that realized they wanted to vote for Trump this time? 100% increase. How do you explain that? This whole gender war thing, yes, there is a gender war going on right now on the YouTubes, on the internet, maybe even out there in the street among black men and black women. It's just a thing that shouldn't even be. Okay, people are worried about, oh, Donald Trump, he's a racist, he's a fascist, all this, that, and the third. I think one of the bigger issues here is that black men and women are having a hard time being able to get along with each other. Okay, the white male percentage drop is kind of concerning as well. Let me go back to that before I move on. You have 31% that voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016 among white men, but 40% that voted for Biden. Okay, 58% that voted for Trump this time among white men, but 63% that voted for Trump last time. So a 5-point decrease for Trump among white men and a 9-point decrease or a 9-point increase, pardon me, that voted for Joe Biden. Now, like I said, these are early numbers. It could change, but I think there's concern among black households and white households. Okay, among white households, I'm not sure what's going on. You got some of the young kids coming out. They've been indoctrinated in public school, maybe even private school, college especially, and they're voting a certain way because of what they've been taught. They kind of brainwashed, maybe even demoralized. Now, among black men and black women, you have this welfare state in the way. I think that's probably the biggest problem right there because the black man is seen as disposable in many ways. So it's like, okay, why do I need to follow you? Why must I do anything you say, black man? I'm going to just do my own thing. You know, I don't even really care. It's whatever. That could be a reason why we're kind of fighting. But I think you're seeing an uptick in the voting percentages for Republicans among black men and women because we're seeing that the Democrat policies aren't working. Go to any major inner city right now, any major city, period. Go to Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, New York. Wherever you go, where you have a black part of town, it's not doing very well. Okay. And like I said before, it's to the point where people just think that's just us. I mean, if you ask a liberal and they're being honest with you, and they're talking about policies and what you can do to change it, they'll just say, well, black folks, they need welfare, they need this and need that because they can't do anything better. And if you look at the way the town is and the black part of it compared to the white part, you have a hard time trying to prove them wrong. But see, the issue is that the policies do not work for us. It's just not working. We have to go to places where the policies do actually work, where we can succeed. You go down there to Georgia, go down there to parts of the South where black folks are at. We're chilling, got plenty of land. It is not so much of the constant struggle and the battle as we have up in the northern part. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that Atlanta, Georgia is Shangri-La for black people. No, I'm not going to say that. But I'll tell you one thing, we're having a better time in more Republican or conservative areas than we do have in Democrat liberal areas. That's just a fact. And nobody can really deny that. Once you look at the actual numbers, look at the migration patterns. Where are black folks moving to? And where are they moving from? We're moving away from New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, Bay Area, Detroit, Chicago. We're moving away from those parts of the country and going to Nashville, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, Texas, Jacksonville, Miami, and places like that. But like I said about voters in general, we can't take the same voting patterns we had with us to the new place. And I think a lot of us starting to recognize that. Like I said, according to the exit poll data, which could be changing, which could change, it might not be 100% accurate, but it's very promising. You got a 35% increase among black male voters that go towards the Republican Party and a 100% increase among black females. Okay, we're starting to see the light. Now, is it going to change overnight? No, it's not. Obviously, you got a particular voting pattern that's been around for the past 50 or 60 years. How are you going to change that in the blink of an eye? How are you going to change that overnight? You understand? The Black Sit movement and walk away things like that is going to take time. You got to plant seeds. A tree cannot grow into, you can't plant like 500 seeds and get a complete lush forest with all kind of wildlife and deer and bear and a whole ecosystem in 24 hours. It doesn't work like that. Rome was not built in a day. It's going to take time. You got to look at this exit poll data to really see what's going on. I foresee a drastic change in the future. And as I close, I want to say this. This is why the Democratic Party are trying to usher in the illegal alien. You got a lot of black folks out there celebrating Joe Biden, yay, Democratic Party, yay. Meanwhile, they're going to try to tear that wall down and flood the gates. So what are you going to do, black man, black woman, if you're living in a low income area and you're trying to rise up and get away from that type of environment and do something with yourself, pull yourself by your bootstraps? How are you going to do that when you're being inundated with outside invaders that come in? They already got a strong work ethic. They got business. They got money. They speak Spanish. And you pretty much just out in the cold. They're going to buy up stuff you don't have money for yet. They're going to buy up stuff. They're going to change it. What you going to do? Oh, we got to let them in because they're poor and they're hungry. We have poor and hungry Americans. Focus on America first. The Democrats, they put a big trick talking about, oh, America first is racist. How is it racist to worry about where you live first? Okay, if you have a family, say you got kids, right? You got wife, kids, whatever. Who are you going to be worried about first? People that you don't know, never met before, or your own family or yourself? First law of nature, self-preservation. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Is there a gender war happening right now between black men, black women? How about white men, white women? Is that going on? You got really high divorce rates. Are divorces happening because of political differences? If that's your viewpoint, let me know. Why in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at with it. I think that a lot of this stuff can be easily explained as far as the gender war or any kind of gender differences we have between black and white or whatever. It can be easily explained and solved. And I think you're going to see drastic gains for the Republican Party among non-whites, especially black folks. Now, as far as what's happening with white folks, I don't know. Maybe that exit poll isn't 100% accurate, but I'm seeing some concern there. I think we got to get down to academia and really examine what's going on. Academia, social media, the state of the family. Look at that right there. They're trying to inundate us right now with drug use. I'm going to talk about drugs for just 1 minute, please. And then I'm going to wrap it on up, put the bow on the top. People say, oh, end the war on drugs, make all drugs legal. Don't you understand that the way you can really demoralize a nation and take them over from the outside without firing the shot is to get the nation hooked on drugs? That's the easiest way. Okay, they want you to be on cocaine, heroin, whatever. It's almost to the point where when you are pacified by idle things, damaging yourself, then you'll be malleable to whatever those on the outside who are stone cold sober will just implant in you. Okay? Do you even really care about voting for the president or who wins when you high on drugs and you can't even move? You banging heroin right on the city bus. Why do you care about who the president is? Those who are sober and who are not engaged in frivolity will be the ones making the decisions. Do you want that for yourself? Do you want that for your nation? I don't. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.